All right, guys, I got someone here super special to me. I'm sure he's going to end up being somebody special for you. His name is Skylar Peck, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself today.
All right. When I think about about myself, it's more like not everything that I've accomplished, but everything that I haven't accomplished yet. Everything that I still want to do. I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, so it's like I never take a second to reflect about what I've overcome. Because I'm never satisfied. I always want to keep moving, keep improving, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Consider yourself a forward thinker.
Yeah, never take a second to think about the past or.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes like you have to use that to overcome the situations or build who you want to become. But I feel like I'm at the point where I understand like who I am and what I want to be, and so nothing else matters besides becoming that person.
So who are you trying to be?
Who am I trying to be? I'm trying to be somebody that God can use and count on. I want to be like Jesus. So that's all that really matters. So I know like I'll never be perfect or be able to be like him, but I can try to do my best to have some of his traits, and be that light that he is in my life to other people. So when they see me, I don't want them to necessarily see Skylar. I want them to see Jesus through me. And
That's awesome. That's awesome. When would you say that your relationship with God started to grow, started to blossom?
That's a big one because I had no idea about like Jesus, God, growing up. I never was raised on religion or faith or anything like that. My drug addiction in the past led me to have a overdose, end up in the hospital, tubes down my throat breathing for me, got my stomach pumped, 126 pounds. I just felt like I was off, and then when I was asleep or whatever I was, I basically felt I was up there, and God was talking to somebody whether to decide what to do with me, and then before I knew it, I was in God's hand, and as he was putting his hands out, the light was getting darker and darker before it was all the way extended, and I just woke up. And so from that moment, I was curious about like who God is, how the world became, is God real, why do Christians say that they're right. I was really upset because Christianity seemed to be the most popular in the United States, where I'm at now in Nevada, Las Vegas. So it was like, who are these people to say that Jesus is right? I was offended.
Right.
So I just wanted to find the truth.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you talk about, overdosing and getting to that point of, being in the hospital with tubes down your throat. What would you say got you there? How did you get there?
It's crazy. Like, pretty much say like I became the person who I hated most growing up, and that was my dad. So starting at a young age, he disappointed me and my family. First it was with weed, catching when I was like 8 or 10, and then next it was meth and coke, pills, and then before you know, all that energy into someone who I hated, I became. And then that was it. Yeah,
and I'm sure along that journey, you weren't like thinking to yourself, oh, I've become my dad.
No.
Were you? No. As those thoughts don't go through your brain in that world. No. What is that like? What would you say, like, when you're in that place, what are you thinking?
For me, I wasn't doing a lot of thinking.
Right.
More a lot of escaping. I didn't want to feel, because naturally, like, I had depression, and I was just suicidal tendencies, didn't want to live, didn't feel like I belonged, so I was just always trying to get high to escape and just to be somewhere else, and then, which I didn't even know that's what I was doing in the moment.
Right.
I didn't know, I didn't want to feel, So that's what I did.
Right. All right. So you talked about, feeling anxiety, feeling depression, feeling, maybe like the outlier in social settings. How would you say, this new relationship or, newfound relationship with God that you have has kind of helped in those areas without using substances?
Well, so basically, like growing up, I didn't have a father, so to speak. So when I found out that Jesus is my father and he will never fail me, or he will never be short to me, he will always fulfill all his promises to me. Everything that I was looking for, he replaced. And so I believed that 100%. And then so I just kept trying to grow more and learn more about him and who he was and what I need to become. And so that was, the factor was just having a dad changed my life.
Yeah.
So.
How long did that process of letting substances go take you? Like how, I know there's a lot of trial and error. You put things down once and, people relapse and have this journey. How many times, would you say it took you to get it right?
Thousands. I tried to quit every single day.
You're right.
Ended up doing 3 long-term treatment centers, doing over a year and a half in treatment, mental health institutions. It took from 15 is when I started until about 20, 21.
Okay.
Probably just before I turned 21. Mm-hmm. And then, that's the most important part of growing up and identifying who you are,
Right.
And so I ran away from all those moments of figuring out who is Skylar, what am I going to be, who am I going to become. And before I knew it, it's like I was 21, I had no job, no structure, didn't know who just didn't know anything.
So I know that you were an athlete growing up. You played basketball, and if I do say so myself, you were pretty good at it. How do you think, or do you think at all, that being an athlete, maybe being in a certain social group that you may have been in, do you think that affected your character in any way in, those, middle school, high school times?
That's a tricky question because the first time I got high off of heroin was with state championship wrestlers, all-star basketball players. Those are who I got high with. So it didn't really make sense looking back at it, but sports, it wasn't really an outlet for me. It was just something that I did. I just played basketball, but I would quit the basketball team to go smoke, do heroin, and then I would say, blame it on my dad's death and try to come back on the team. They'd take me back, and then I would leave again. And so I don't think it had much of an impact. As I would say, maybe like 10 years old playing on the street. It was much more funner for me, and wake up, play till street lights come on, come home,
right,
do it all over again.
Right. I think those are such simple times that we take for granted, being in that 10 years old, playing outside and going out with our friends, going to the movie theaters before, we're trying to get drunk beforehand or things like that. I think those are really simple times that we forget about as we grow into, all these other social settings that we get ourselves into. So that's a really good topic that, I like people to know, because I think it's important to feel comfortable, being sober and being, comfortable in your skin, no matter what social setting you're in. Because, a lot of people, they're going to play sports, they're going to be involved in clubs and activities, growing up. And it's important that you can still be confident without being influenced.
Right.
And not to say that you were influenced by those people. We all have our own influences, whether they're, internal or external. But, those are still factors that I think play into our, human mind and behavior. Yeah. So what do you think, after high school, where did Skylar go?
Where did I go? Might have went to jail. Can't remember. A lot of my life on drugs was a blur. So if I was 18, you graduated when you're 18, so a couple more years. I was definitely in treatment after high school, again. same. Nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just selling drugs,
Right.
getting high.
Right.
Doing
What
the
was
same
your first time in treatment like? Like for you internally? I don't, you don't have to talk about the groups and all the, the structure of the of the classroom setting and all that. But what was it for you mentally that first time?
I mean, looking in the moment, it was just like a camp, basically. It wasn't like, oh, I'm here to get better. It was more like my mom sent me. So I'm 15 years old, and the other kids, it was just not the healthiest environment, but there were seeds planted. So like in the moment, I'm not learning anything, but I'm learning things, like I'm applying the things I learned when I was 15 in treatment now.
Okay.
So like in the moment, I'm just going through the motion.
Right, in and out.
Yeah, so it's nothing sticking. I know I wanted to do better for my family, but I didn't necessarily want to stop. I had to stop.
Right.
So it basically just seemed that it's upsetting the people around me, so maybe I should change it up a little bit, but I still didn't deal with the problems, and I still wanted to mask them. I still wanted to hide. So.
Right. Now, I'm in no way want to encourage anyone's recovery path. By all means, you do what works for you. But I do want to ask you, Skylar, did sobriety click for you in a rehab center, or did it click for you with something else in a different arena?
Well, honestly, nothing really changed until I met God. And then from that moment, so like I've been to treatment 3 times, and they teach you like skills and how to apply them, but nothing filled that hole. Like that piece that was missing in my heart was the love of God. And so once I let that finish the puzzle piece, then everything started to change. So from that moment, it was just like, still trying to figure out who he is, what he wants. Is he real? Number one, like, is this guy real, and why and how? And basically, once God came in the picture, then everything changed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So being young like we are, people always want to know, what's your love life look like? What do relationships look like? And if you can, kind of take us through, what bad relationships looked like for you into really healthy relationships. Because I think, for a while, we all experience, toxic relationships, relationships that aren't healthy. Our healthy boundaries are kind of invisible until we, grow ourselves and grow emotionally. So what did those relationships look like for you?
I think for the most part, I've been fortunate enough I've been the unhealthy one in all the relationships and the people that I meet. So once I've been able to figure out how to make myself healthy, just being positive, working hard, all these things, like I had to learn. So like I've always been like, growing up, I was untrustworthy, I was a liar, would cheat on tests, just everything negative. So once I learned traits of being healthy and positive, so did the relationships around me start to change. And so,
what qualities do you have now that Skylar, 10 years ago didn't have?
Qualities. I think the qualities I have now are, and it sounds cliche, but I'm a child of God. And so I really take that to heart, and I want people to be able to trust me, to know that they can count on me, that I'm actually listening to what they have going on, or I'm trying to encourage them. It's all like with the right perspective and unselfish perspective. My main goal is to be able to help people want to do better. And that's about it.
Awesome. So God is obviously very important to you, your relationship. But what does your participation with God look like? What does kind of that routine look like for you? When do you read? Do you go to church?
So they basically describe it as 4 wheels on a car. So which is prayer, worship, fellowship, and then reading the word.
Okay.
Fellowship, worship, and reading the word. So making sure that I do those things on a daily basis helps keep everything going. So the only way to spend time with God is to read His Word, and I make sure that to be like the start of my days, praying to Him, speaking, worshiping, singing. I'm not the best singer, but He does. He's not tripping about it. Basically, just spending the time with Him. It's kind of good because that obsessive and addictive behavior I had towards drugs and violence and being a criminal, I kind of use that all for Jesus. So it's always God, but it's not fake.
Right.
You know, it's 100% everything. I want to live, breathe, and be Jesus to the best of my ability. So
awesome. All right, so for those of you that have followed my journey for even if it's been 5 minutes, you would know that I started a brand, TC Mentality, a long time ago, which really, breeds confidence, positive mindset, and goal setting skills. So while I have you, Skylar, I wanted to talk about those 3 things exactly. I want to talk about what confidence looks like and means to you. What does your positive mindset look like? And then what are some tangible goals that you want to share with our viewers today? So whipping out with that confidence. Let's go.
So confidence with me starts with self-esteem. And the best way for me to have self-esteem is to set daily goals and accomplish them. So whether it be as silly as brushing my teeth 3 times a day, being able to do that consistently builds confidence. Say if I want to do 50 push-ups, anything that I set these goals that they have to be obtainable to help build that confidence. And before you know it, you're saying I can change the world. And then because you build that confidence up with little things, you know that it'll eventually happen. And I think that faith and patience are super key. Because sometimes we can work really hard at something, and if we become impatient, it can lower our confidence. But if we have faith, then we'll have trust.
Right.
And with trust comes confidence.
Right.
So just applying those 3 things seems to be the best for me to use.
Okay.
To build my confidence.
Would you say kind of that is your recipe for keeping a positive mindset?
Yeah. I mean, number 1, faith is having faith that God has a plan for me, plan not to harm me, but to prosper me, is something that I wouldn't be able to live without that verse. That promise that He said to me is what I hold on to every single day. So no matter how bad it can get, even if I'm doing everything right, sometimes that could just be a test of my faith. And if I have enough patience and endurance to work through that with a positive mindset, the outcome usually work out on my end.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I love that. Now, I know that you're a dreamer, a creator, the visionary of all. What are some of your tangible goals that you're working on right now? Maybe just a little sneak peek.
Tangible. I believe anything's tangible, really, when it comes down to it. I want to do a lot. All my goals are tangible.
Okay.
Basically, the ultimate idea is to be able to create 10 businesses to help fund the church, youth programs. I want to be able to be self-sustaining and not relying on others to help make it happen. Obviously, that's a plus. But you often go to hear about churches, and a lot of people are turned off money.
Right.
But if we're generating our own money and we're just trying to literally just get the message out of the gospel, I think it'll carry a lot more value and weight.
Right.
But right now I'm working on the ministry clothing line. I did meal preps, training, but those I felt like are kind of like some things that I wanted to do. So now I feel that God wants to do clothing. It's more like His will and not mine. So right now I'm just trying to let him guide me through that process, through this process of developing it. Just start from there and then see what happens next.
Awesome, awesome. How would you feel if one day you walk into a room and 75% of the people have your clothes on?
They're not my clothes. They're his clothes. I would just feel encouraged at the end of the day, seeing that, because you're not really believing in me, they're believing in God. You're not wearing these clothes that says God is great on it because you believe that Skylar is, God.
Right.
You're believing because Jesus is great and God is great. So you just feel encouraged that this voice that I hear from God is real and not delusional.
Right.
And because I've held on for so long, I think I came up with OGF in 2012, and it's just sat. The OGF acronym sat for 5 years, and then I made Only Good Foods, and then Only Good Fitness, and now I'm doing Only Good Faith. So it's crazy to see that one thought that I had patience has been able to build my confidence and my trust. So I'm just gonna keep working hard.
Awesome. Now, what about Protect Your Dreams? You got it. I got it. I love it. What about that? Is that brand, gonna come back out?
Yeah, it'll always be the mission statement. Everybody's dreams are different. That's what's so universal about it. I would love to make that larger because I know not everyone believes in Jesus. Not everyone's going to want to hear about God. So this way, it kind of breaks it down more softly to people, and they can still have hope and a reminder of encouragement to protect your dreams. And when you have that mindset of protect your dreams at all costs, each day can be a little bit more meaningful.
Definitely.
I guess you could say.
Definitely. So you don't just want to reach, Christian viewers, believers. You want to reach everyone. You want everyone to know, that they can protect their dreams, that they can have hope. It's not just for one, population. It's for everyone.
Right.
Awesome.
So that's what kind of the start of everything is. So OGF to me means something totally different than all the other entities or brands that are being developed. So for me, it's original God flow.
Right.
Being a gangster for God, doing whatever it takes to help other people.
Yeah.
That's what that means to me. But you can't always approach people with that type of statement. So OGF, Only Good Foods. It's a food service that able to get inside of people's homes. And when you show up at the door with a smile and you're helping them reach their goals and it's building their confidence, and there's still something behind that, even though I'm not Jesus.
Right. It's the message behind the message.
So I'm not here to force anybody to believe in God, but maybe by the works and the fruit that I bear, that they may know that it may be some truth to Jesus.
Right.
I believe.
For sure. And I think just, your story itself, you're a living example of the miracles of God. For sure. Yeah. I can honestly say, look, I've met a lot of people in life, and I've heard a lot of stories and journeys and paths. And to hear what someone has gone through, and to hear them say that God got them out, there's just no question about that. And as genuine as you speak, and just hearing you talk, there's no way to know that that's not true. There's no false, vision behind what you're saying. And I think, that has helped my relationship with God grow tremendously, just to see, miracles like yourself walk that path and, and show off for him. So thank you for all that you're doing, all that you're becoming, and for all these future things that will come to life. Let's go.